Hi, I'm John Greaves III. I'm the founder of Garage Gym Life, and this is my review of the Roller J Cups from Bells of Steel. Full disclosure, I do have an affiliate link with Bells of Steel, and I did tag the Roller J Cups in the YouTube shopping link at the bottom corner of this video. So if you decide to buy a pair of these after watching this video, I will get a small commission on the sale. That being said, I do like these in general, although there's one specific area where I'd like to see improvements made. So if you want to know what I think of these, whether you're planning on making a purchase or not, stay tuned. So I asked Bells of Steel to send me these Roller J Cups because I've been trying to build my numbers in the squat, bench, deadlift, and overhead press, and I'm at the point in the squat specifically where the weights are getting heavy enough that having the bar even a little bit off center can affect how many reps I can get. And it's not that I can't center the bar with normal J Cups, it's just that I'd rather save that energy for doing the set rather than setting up the set. It's as simple as that. There are other benefits to having a pair of Roller J Cups, like protecting the knurling on your bar from being damaged by scraping across the surface of the J Cup, and protecting the surface of your J Cup from being damaged by having the knurling on your bar scraping across it, but I really don't care about that. Not any of it. My roots in lifting go back to a time when lifters didn't care about scratching up their equipment, either because they lifted in a public or a semi-private gym, so it was basically the gym owner's responsibility to keep the equipment looking good, so to say, or because we got our stuff used from high school or college weight rooms, so by the time it showed up at your door, it was pretty beat up already. I mean, the early 2000s was wild for gym equipment. None of us knew what the dimensions of the posts on our racks were, for example, and only the West Side guys talked about hole spacing. And we looked at scratches on equipment as a badge of honor because it meant the stuff was actually getting used. Nobody would take you as a serious lifter if you cared more about how your equipment looked than how you looked and performed. But it's the 21st century now, and times have changed. So let's talk about the aesthetics of these Roller J Cups. According to the Bells of Steel website, the rollers are made of a durable, hard nylon. They come in three versions. There's a 60mm version, which fits all 60mm by 60mm racks, whether they're Bells of Steel or another brand. And that's 2.3622 by 2.3622 inches, in case you're wondering. And that version is rated about 600 pounds combined capacity, which means basically a barbell that's evenly loaded at 600 pounds. Then there's a Hydra version, which is what you see here. This fits the Bells of Steel Hydra racks and non-Bells of Steel true 3x3 inch racks with 5/8 inch holes. And these have a 1,000 pound combined capacity. We'll come back to that true 3x3 inch specification later in the video, so put a pin in that. But moving on. The final option is the Manicore version, which will fit the Manicore racks from Bells of Steel and non-Bells of Steel true 3x3 inch racks with 1 inch hole spacing. Like the Hydra Roller J Cups, the Manicore Roller J Cups feature a 1,000 pound combined capacity. One difference between the Hydra and Manicore options is that the Manicore version includes quick locking mag pins, which we'll also talk about later on. And the Manicore version of these Roller J Cups apparently has additional UHMW inside this area to protect your rack, whereas as you can see, this Hydra version does not. The overall appearance of these Roller J Cups is fantastic in my opinion. They came out of the box looking good. I especially like the understated Bells of Steel logo. All of the bolts are nice and tight, and most importantly of all, it does what it says it's going to do. I've really enjoyed training with them. I've used them for 2 squat sessions and 2 overhead press sessions so far, and it's been a lot easier to center the bar for lifts. The roller motion is extremely smooth. So smooth that I have to be careful when I'm loading and unloading plates because the bar will yeet away from you when you load the plate if you're not paying attention. And I almost hit my face on the bar when I was unloading the last 45-pound plate on my last squat session, which would have been a tragedy for my wife. I just didn't expect the bar to come shooting towards me like that. Fortunately, I have the reflexes of a hunting panther. Another unforeseen adjustment that I had to make was I did have to lower my rack height from 21, where it was with my original Sandwich J Cups, to 20 so that I wouldn't have to do a calf raise to unrack and re-rack the bar, but that was an easy fix. I like the depth of the rollers because it means that these Roller J Cups will not only fit a standard barbell. For reference, in the squat videos, I'm using the bare naked powerlifting bar from Bells of Steel, which has a 29mm shaft, so you get an idea of how much room you would have if you have a barbell with a similar diameter. But the Roller J Cups will also accommodate thicker barbells like my 45-pound knurled axle bar from Gorilla Strength, which has a 2-inch shaft. Okay, now we've covered specs and functionality. It's time to tell you what I wish they would change about these roller J cups. But before I do, if you're still watching, you obviously enjoy content like this. So do me a favor and help me make it possible for more people to see this video. All you gotta do is just click the like button if you haven't already done so. Feel free to share it as well. And if you want to keep seeing videos from my channel, make sure that you're a subscriber by hitting the subscribe button. And make sure the notifications are on so you know when I upload my next video or when I go live on the channel. All right, what do I want to see changed about these roller J cups? Well, I wish they included a locking mag pin on the Hydra version like they did on the Manticore version. And the reason for that is the J cups themselves move too much when you're adjusting them under heavy load. That relates back to that true 3x3 measurement I mentioned earlier. So, as I mentioned in my review of this Iron Bolt Strength Power Rack, while this rack is labeled as a 3x3 on their website, it's actually a 75mm by 75mm, which works out to 2.95276 inches by, you get the idea. That's why those roller J cups move around so easily on the rack. There are a couple of potential fixes. I could add some thin magnetic strips on the J cups to act as shims between them and the rack, or I could drill a small hole in the back strap to put a mag pin so that way it doesn't move around. I'm not satisfied with either solution, especially since while my wife and I plan to keep this rack for the foreseeable future, there's nothing that says that we might not switch back to a 3x3 rack with 1-inch hole spacing, which would then mean that we'd be either selling or giving away these Hydra roller J cups. So I don't want to do anything that might lower their resale value. Another possibility is that we might switch to a Hydra rack from Bells of Steel, since we've been fans of their products even before we had an affiliate link with them. And in that case, I will want to see how these roller J cups fit on the Hydra before drilling holes or otherwise altering them. So in a nutshell, I like these roller J cups, and I think they're a great option for squats and overhead presses. I don't use them for bench pressing because I prefer monolift attachments to mimic receiving a handoff on the bench press, so that way I always start my bench from the same position I would in competition. Plus, I just prefer unracking from a monolift attachment because I just think it's a more stable position since I'm frequently bench pressing alone. But I do know that some people have used these roller J cups for flat benching, and they're pleased with the results. Bells of Steel did have a roller monolift attachment, which I think would be amazing, but it's not on their website at the time we're recording this video. If they do get added to the Bells of Steel website, I'd probably upgrade to those from my current monolift attachments, but I would likely still continue to use these roller J cups for squats and overhead press because I just like how they perform for those lifts. As I mentioned, I do have an affiliate link with Bells of Steel, so if you'd like to snag a pair of these or any other Bells of Steel product and you want to support my channel while you do it at no additional cost to you, that link is in the video description, or you can just, again, hit the shopping button in the bottom corner of this video, which will accomplish the same thing. Either way, I appreciate you guys watching. If there's something you want to know that I didn't cover, drop a comment and I'll answer it as best I can. Peace, two fingers.